December 31st, 1983. In La Union, a boy was born into poverty. By day, he worked as a golf caddy. By night, he sneaked into noisy pool halls. He played for small coins. He sometimes slept beside the cold tables he practiced on. No one believed this boy would escape that life. But they were wrong. His name? Carlo Biado. Fast forward to 2017. He lined up the final shot in Doha, winning the World 9-Ball Championship. And then in 2021, he shocked the world again. He became the first Filipino in 27 years to lift the U.S. Open Pool Championship, a title last held by Efren Reyes in 1994. The pool world was stunned. The forgotten kid from La Union had become a global champion. Yet behind the trophies, Carlo made a different choice. No scandals, no flashy mansions. He chose family. He kept his wife and children away from the spotlight. So how did he move from sleeping in pool halls to building quiet wealth and living a so-called luxurious lifestyle? In the next few minutes, we uncover the untold story of Carlo Biado. In 2025, Carlo Biado is still competing at the very top of the World Pool Tour. He travels from Manila to Las Vegas, from Doha to London, meeting the best players the sport can offer. Fans know when his name is called, they are watching a proven champion. His game remains precise. His focus remains unshaken. Every match shows the discipline that brought him this far. Yet, his life is not only about the tables. Carlo is also a husband and a father. He has built a private world where his wife and children stay out of the media's reach. Unlike other athletes who promote their families on social feeds, Carlo protects his. He knows fame can be dangerous. That is why his loved ones rarely appear in the spotlight. This makes him different in today's sports world. Because while many champions flash their cars, their watches, or their mansions, Carlo does not. He avoids the life of the influencer athlete. His kind of luxury is simple, steady work and quiet family time. It looks like long hours of practice matched with dinners at home. It looks like trophies earned on stage, but peace when the stage is gone. For many fans, this makes him more relatable. Because Carlo is living proof that a man can chase global titles and still hold on to what matters most. From the pool table to his living room, he keeps the same focus: discipline, balance, and family first. That balance is what defines Carlo Biado today. Carlo Biado was born in 1983 in La Union, Philippines. His family lived a modest life. Money was always tight. As a teenager, he discovered the game that would change his future. That game was pool. He practiced anywhere he could. Sometimes he spent the entire night inside small pool halls. He even slept beside the tables just to be the first to practice the next morning. The more he played, the more his talent showed. By the early 2000s, he was no longer just another teenager with a cue. He was winning matches in Philippine tournaments. Soon after, his name spread across Asia. He competed in regional tours, slowly earning respect from older, more experienced players. Every win pushed him closer to the global stage. For many fans, his rise felt familiar. It mirrored the journey of Efren Reyes, another Filipino who climbed from poverty to international glory. The sport had seen this kind of story once before, and now it was happening again. Carlo had the same hunger, the same discipline, and the same fearlessness. But there was something more. A hidden skill made him different. It was not just about hitting the perfect shot. It was about staying calm when the pressure was highest. That mental strength would turn him from a good player into a world-class champion. Carlo Biado built his reputation on two things: cold nerves and rotational mastery. He could switch between 9-ball and 10-ball with the same skill. When the table looked impossible, he kept his focus. When the pressure rose, he stayed calm. This ability became his trademark. And then came the year that changed everything. In 2017, Carlo delivered his greatest run. He won the SEA Games gold medal in 9-ball singles in Kuala Lumpur. He followed it with the World Games gold medal in Wrocław, Poland. And finally, he reached the World 9-Ball Championship in Doha, Qatar. The final was all Filipino. He faced Roland Garcia, another product of the Philippines' deep pool tradition. Under the lights, Carlo showed his trademark calm. Every shot was measured, every decision was precise. When the last ball dropped, Carlo became the new world champion. That year, he collected 3 major titles across 3 different stages. It was a clean sweep that announced him to the global pool world. Filipino fans celebrated. International players now saw him as a true threat. But success can be both a blessing and a test, because in the years after, the same run of victories did not fully repeat, and soon, Carlo would face the challenge of proving that 2017 was not the end of his rise, but only the beginning. Carlo Biado walked into the 2018 World 9-Ball Championship carrying the weight of a champion. The year before, he had been the one lifting the trophy. Now fans wondered if he could do it again. Few players in history have reached back-to-back finals. Even fewer have repeated as champion. The expectations on Carlo were heavy, the spotlight was brighter, the pressure was higher, and once again he fought his way through the field. He reached the final. It was the chance to prove that 2017 was not luck, but skill. The match began, and the tension was clear. Carlo played with his usual focus, but small mistakes began to show. His opponent capitalized, racks slipped away, the momentum shifted. When the last ball dropped, Carlo was not the winner. He finished as the runner-up. For many champions, this would feel like a deep blow. But for Carlo, the story was different. Reaching back-to-back finals placed him in rare company. It proved his 2017 run was no fluke. Still, the loss was a reminder. Even the best can stumble. Even the strongest nerves can crack under pressure. Fans were left asking, would Carlo rise again, stronger than before, and prove he still belonged at the very top of the sport? Carlo Biado walked into the U.S. Open Pool Championship with something to prove. The memory of his runner-up finish was still fresh. Fans wondered if he could climb back to the very top. From the first rack, he showed no signs of hesitation. He stormed through the bracket, defeating opponent after opponent. His focus was sharp. His nerves were steady. Every shot looked like it belonged to a man on a mission. And when the tournament reached its final stage, history waited. Carlo won the U.S. Open Championship. The crowd erupted. For the first time since Efren Reyes in 1994, a Filipino lifted that trophy. It had been 27 years since the last Filipino champion. Carlo broke the drought. The pool world called it redemption. For fans, this victory erased the sting of his 2018 loss. It proved he was not a one-time wonder. He was now the true heir to Reyes, carrying the weight of Philippine billiards on his shoulders. Filipino fans celebrated around the world. Even casual watchers called him the next legend. The title gave him international respect, new recognition, and fresh confidence. But with success came another question. Did this victory bring endless wealth and the flashy luxury often tied to champions, or did Carlo's life take a very different path? Carlo Biado's success naturally brought questions about his wealth. Online, estimates of his net worth range anywhere from $1 million to $5 million. But most of these claims are unverified. What is clear is where his earnings come from. He collects money from tournament purses. He gains incentives from sponsors and sporting bodies. He also earns from brand endorsements tied to his global status. These sources make him one of the top-paid Filipino cue artists. Still, the image of a lavish lifestyle does not match reality. There are no confirmed mansions. There are no public car fleets. There are no flashy luxury collections. What exists instead is a private and modest life. Carlo keeps his family away from media coverage. His wife and children rarely appear in the spotlight. This is not an accident. It is a choice. That choice creates both admiration and rumors. Fans respect his privacy, but others wonder why so little is revealed. It fuels endless online debate about what his life truly looks like. The reality is simple. His luxury is the grind of traveling the tour, collecting titles, and giving his family steady security. He defines success by staying focused on the game, not by showing off. And that discipline is what keeps his career alive even after decades. The bigger question is not about his money, it's about his legacy. Where does Carlo Biado stand in the long story of Philippine sports history? Carlo Biado stands as a bridge between two great eras of Philippine billiards. On one side is the golden time of Efren Reyes, Francisco Bustamante, and the legends who made the sport famous. On the other side is the Matchroom Global Tour, today's stage where pool is more international and more demanding than ever. Carlo proved that Filipino Q power did not end with the older generation. His run from 2017 to 2021 showed that the Philippines still had champions who could dominate at the very highest level. He became the modern symbol of a small nation standing tall against bigger, richer countries. For Filipino fans, every victory carried pride beyond the table. It showed the world that talent and discipline could outweigh resources and funding. Carlo's peak years made him more than just another player. They made him part of a national legacy, and his true measure is not in flashy houses or luxury cars. It is in his medals, his trophies, and the moments where the Philippine flag was raised above all others. This is the weight he carries now. Because when history is written, Carlo Biado will be remembered as the man who kept the Filipino name alive in the global spotlight. The question now is not whether he has achieved enough. It is what comes next as age begins to catch up with his game. Carlo Biado is still a name to watch in the world's biggest majors. In 2025, he remains a dangerous contender in every international event. He keeps reaching deep into tournaments, proving he still belongs among the sport's elite. Crowds know when his name is called, the match will be serious. But age changes the picture. At 42 years old, Carlo faces the same battle every veteran athlete does. The clock is ticking. Younger players arrive with fresh energy. They are hungry to take the stage he has held for so long. Carlo's strength is no longer about proving talent. That was already decided with his World Championship and US Open. Now the test is consistency. Can he keep making runs year after year? Can he stay relevant as the game grows faster and tougher? For fans, the focus has shifted. They no longer only ask about his next title, they ask about his long-term legacy. Because medals, not mansions, define his true wealth. And history will not count luxury cars or unverified numbers. It will count the moments he raised the flag for the Philippines. Carlo knows this. That is why he continues grinding through the tour, traveling, competing, and showing the same discipline that built his career. His future may not be measured in the same way as his past. It will be measured by how long he can remain at the top and how much his story inspires the next generation of Filipino players. And that brings us to the real truth of his career, his family, and his so-called luxurious lifestyle. Carlo Biado's story proves that real luxury is not built on mansions or sports cars. His wealth is measured in relentless work, quiet family support, and historic victories that reshaped Philippine billiards. The outside world often asks one question: what is his net worth? But the true answer lies elsewhere. His greatest assets are respect, earned through decades of discipline, his medals and titles collected against the toughest competition in the world, and his consistency, proving again and again that he belongs among the sport's elite. This is the twist. Money fades, fame passes, but the discipline to keep fighting and the values that hold a family together last forever. From the World Championship in 2017 to the US Open redemption in 2021, Carlo showed the world that Filipinos are not only part of billiards history, they still define its future. He carried the flag of a small nation onto the world's biggest stages and proved that heart and hard work can beat resources and power. And it echoes the truth from the very start. This was never just about houses, cars, or lifestyle rumors. It was about the journey of a boy who started as a poor caddy, slept in pool halls, and rose to become a world champion. So now the reflection turns to you. What do you call true luxury? Flashy homes and possessions, or a legacy that will live forever? Carlo Biado's journey proves that true success is not about luxury. It is about humble beginnings, historic titles, and a quiet focus on family. From a boy who once worked as a poor caddy to a man who became a world champion, his story shows that greatness can rise from the most modest places. He faced painful setbacks, he climbed back for shining redemption, and through it all, He built a career that continues to inspire. Carlo's life reminds us that medals last longer than mansions, and values outshine temporary fame. For more untold stories of icons who rose from nothing to global greatness, make sure to subscribe now. And tell us, which part of Carlo Biado's journey surprised you more? His U.S. Open redemption that ended a 27-year wait? Or his quiet, family-centered lifestyle that kept him grounded? Share your thoughts below.